everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda. Um, I am currently an essential worker. I just wanted to encourage those out there who are struggling. This time that we're in is very crucial. It is a time where we don't know what to do, and people are looking for coping skills. We get a lot of videos on how to wash our hands, how to do social distancing, how to quarantine, how to isolation after COVID. But we're not getting how much on how to cope with this whole pandemic thing. So I just wanted to give some pointers, some things that work for myself, some things that I've actually implemented in my life before this whole thing had happened. I first want to start off by saying I pray and I hope that everybody who sees this video is inspired and will just actually take the time out to watch it and understand that there are ways to get around this. You have to go through it to get out of it, of course, but if you are going to go through this season, because it is a season, you might as well go through it with some faith, some patience, and, just something to do differently other than drinking it away or taking medication. It's only going to pop back up. So here's what I like to do. I wrote down some things that help me. One of the things that I find soothing is if you have children, do arts and craft with them. It's always fun to do arts and craft with children. I think that also takes your mind off of thinking negative. And, if the mind is constantly wandering and not doing something that is positive, it's going to do something that's negative. And you're only going to allow the enemy to seep in and fill you with negative thoughts. So my idea was doing something positive, something that's happy, uplifting. One of the things I think is good is arts and craft with your children or child. I think that also helps to kind of, break away from all that negativity. The other thing that I think is helpful is drinking a lot of tea. Teas are good. Ginger tea, lavender tea. It's very calming and soothing. Along with tea, drinking teas, creating like a peaceful zen, wherever you find your peace in your home. I don't necessarily feel like your bedroom has to be that place of peace. It's wherever you find that place where you could find comfort and peace. Go there. Alongside with that, YouTube yoga videos, specifically on anxiety. If you are facing a lot of anxiety around this time, which a lot of us are, I think that going on YouTube, pulling out your yoga mat, a lot of us do yoga, and sitting right there in your living room with some candles lit, your diffuser going with lavender essential oil, and just start doing your yoga there. Do it for about 10-15 minutes. Alongside with that, sleep meditations. If you are having a hard time sleeping and you're afraid to go to sleep, you dread getting into bed because you're like, oh, there goes that insomnia, or, whatever it is that you feel scares you to want to go to bed because you feel like you won't be able to sleep the whole night, or it's just that anxiety, that constant anxiety about what's going on with people getting sick, family members dying, friends dying, people dying all around you. It's just kind of hard to take in. I think sleep meditations work preferably for me. I like Bible verses, things that are encouraging and uplifting that'll also put me to sleep. I think it's always good to go to sleep to something that's encouraging. You want to make sure that you guard your heart and watch what goes into your spirit, especially at nighttime before bed. So it doesn't hurt to meditate. This is not, I'm not telling you to, I like abide. I like to listen to scripture verses and stuff like that, going to sleep. And I'm not telling you you have to put on abide. There are so many different meditations out there, whatever works for you. So yeah, be encouraged with that. Also, ocean waves, ocean sounds, things like that are calming. Rainfalls, things like that help kind of diffuse the intense, however way you're feeling in that moment that's negative. It kind of brings it down. So that works for me. Also, I'm probably not putting it in the right order, but put it in the order that works for you. But a nice hot shower or a bath with Epsom salt, I think that works, especially when you are out there, you're bending, you're, pulling, you're tugging. A lot of us need to kind of just, you know, get our bodies, you know what I mean, get our bodies where we're more, instead of tense, we're more relaxed. And I think a lot of us need that. So it doesn't hurt, especially if you're a shower person. It doesn't hurt if you have a bathtub to just soak in there and just have your candles out, close your eyes, meditate, do whatever you think is going to bring you peace. Another thing that I think works is, I know I mentioned diffusers earlier. Um, Diffuse wherever you feel is necessary. I have a diffuser in my bathroom, I have a diffuser in my living room, and I have a diffuser upstairs in my bedroom. I don't put one in the kids' room because, they're young and, you got to be careful, you have to be cautious with that. But I think that in areas where you can have more than one peaceful area, I think you should, implement diffusers there. Journal your progress. Some of us, we think that this is something we can't get over, especially if it's a family member or a friend that passed and it happened like that. Some of us fall into depression and we're like, this is something that I never hoped for. None of us hope for this. None of us seen this coming, but the fact that it's here, it's now trying to cope with it. Figuring out, instead of dropping dead like everybody else, that we think is just dropping dead, because it's actually all in your head. I believe that this COVID is meant to, for some people, they're looking at it as being powerful. That's something that will overtake you. Something that, if you get it, oh my gosh, I'm going to fall, I'm going to drop dead. I think that we have more power inside of us to um, cancel out, spirits cancel out diseases, sicknesses, and viruses such as this, and I think we have the power inside of us to do that. And in our minds, what's going on is that we're feeling like, okay, well, uh, my friend's mother's mother passed, my uncle's friend passed, this person passed. We're looking at that and we're saying, okay, I'm next. I think that that is something that, even if you're not a believer, even if you don't believe in God, or you have your own type of religion, I think uh, having a faith that is something that you believe that, okay, although I can't see what's happening, although everybody around me is getting sick, people are dropping like flies everywhere, it doesn't mean it has to be me. Okay? And what you're doing is you're making a confession. You're not walking around thinking that you're next. Remember that movie Final Destination? There was always somebody dying. Somebody was always next. And they always knew that there was going to be somebody in their group that was next to die. And what did they say? It was death's wish, right? So I think that we're kind of giving this coronavirus more power than what it really is. If you had a bad cold, if you had a flu, people were dying of the flu. People probably are dying of a bad cold. I think it's the same. It's the same symptom. It's the same things that you look at in a flu or a bad cold. I think that because of the wording, COVID, coronavirus is what's making people act out of, and that's what the enemy wants. He wants you to think something deeper than what it is. He wants you to have fear. And we already know what fear is. Fear is false evidence appearing real. So we need to bind that up, and whatever we need to do to get back strong and on our feet so that we can cope through this, we need to do. I don't suggest turning to liquor, uh, uh, drugs of any, and medications, whatever, that's a drug. I don't really suggest that we do that, because all we're doing is we're uh, we're mellowing it out for a little bit, and sooner or later it's going to start rising again. So I think what we need to do is go into warfare, some of us. Another thing that I find is good is create goals for yourself for when the whole thing is over. When this thing is over and we get back to somewhat of normal, create some goals for yourself. Figure out what it is that you want to do differently in the next season. We've been through a lot in the season thus far, and coming out of the season, I think a lot of us, for what it's worth, we're going to change. We're going to do things differently. A lot of us look at life differently now, and we still have some people here that are still going to be the same people and not change. And let's leave them where they're at. But I think for some of us who want to see something different happen out of this, and instead of looking at all the pain and the hurt and how uncomfortable it is for us, look at the bright side and look how this could potentially make you stronger and wiser. So I think it's a good thing to make goals, and that will help also with the process in coping. Another thing I find that is helpful for me is finding your peace in God and not people. I think that is extremely important, that we know that people will fail you, okay? Even your family's going to fail you. Those who say they love you, and they can, and they probably, they do love you, but just know that people are going to fail you, and that when you have nowhere else to look or to turn, there you have is God. And some of us, we're like, oh, God, I can't see him, I can't touch him. But yes, you can feel his presence if you get on your knees long enough and really pray out to him, and call out to him and let him know your concerns and your desires. Yes, God will instill himself in you. God will he will make himself known to you if you allow him to. And I'm telling you, he's done it for me. So I'm a living witness that I have had a personal encounter with God. So I know he's real. So even though I don't see him and I can't trace him at times, I know that he's real. And I just want to encourage everybody out there to try him, test to see that he is good, and that, even if you're not a praying type of person, gain a little, courage and go out there and speak a few words. Have a little 5 minutes with him, talk to him like he's a person, because he is. He's somebody that you could just look up to and just call out, Lord, I'm dealing with this, I'm dealing with that, I'm feeling this way, I'm feeling that way. And leave it at his feet, and then go on about your business, and just watch how he moves. Watch how you start feeling better with certain things. So I just want to encourage you all to do that. Find your peace with God. The last thing that I feel is really important in this time is that a lot of us, we're feeling, okay, just like everybody else, we're all feeling, and everybody handles discomfort in different ways. I would encourage you to, as burdened as you are, encourage somebody else. You might feel discomfort, you might be in pain, you probably lost a loved one. I encourage you to encourage somebody else, call up somebody else, a friend, and somebody who's going through as well, and say, listen, we can do this together, we can make it. I think that what that does is that strengthens you, and you won't even realize the strength that you have until you do it. And I'm telling you this because I do it. Being an essential worker, being out there and saying, wow, I could possibly get caught up in this too. I have to constantly renew my mind and remove those thoughts, because if I don't, I'm going to get suckered in All the enemy needs is this much of a window in your mind to open up for him to squeeze through and have all these thoughts raging inside of you. And that's enough for him to, take your mind. And your mind is a terrible thing to waste. So don't lose it. Not on the enemy. So, yeah, I would definitely encourage you all to help somebody else in a time of need, even when you're in need, because it will definitely lift your burden. And going into a few more other things that I wanted to touch base on that will kind of help you all to, kind of figure out how to, okay, you're probably wondering, all right, well, she's telling us that she prays, she goes to God. Some of you guys are not people that pray, Some of you guys have prayed before and haven't been down on your knees in a while, and it's okay. There's no right or wrong way to pray. When you present yourself to God, you're coming to God as you are. You don't have to look pretty. You don't have to, you don't even have to be sitting up straight the way I am. You could be lying in bed. Come as you are to God, and he will hear you. He will meet you wherever you are. I promise you that. So I just wanted to go over a few things that I have done before this whole COVID-19, and I'm still doing, and it's working for me. And this is how I'm keeping myself strong in this time. These are these are confessions that I make over myself and what's going on. And for me, I find that the minute a thought comes into my mind that's negative, like I feel like I'm getting an anxiety attack. I'm thinking about everything that's happening around me. And I'm like, okay. And I have to take those deep breaths. I'm like, oh, no. I'm not going to allow the enemy to get the best of me. Quickly, I start making those confessions, and I made a list. I just want to share with you all some confessions that you make, and you don't have to be super spiritual. You don't have to be saved. These are just like things that everybody could do, okay? If you go to take a test, an exam or whatever, and you want to pass the test, you're going to confess that you're going to pass. You believe that you studied hard for it, and you're going to pass. You're going to ace this test. It's the same thing. It's the same rule applies. So I'm just going to go over some different tools that you could use to make this process for you while we're in this season. Not go faster, because nobody knows when we're going to be out of the season, but to go through the season and regain some strength while you're in the season. Here's some things that you need to kind of pull down. Some things that have been lingering around in your mind. Some doubt, some fear, some anxiety, depression, if any. And you find that these things are always surfaced, and you think sometimes that they're gone, but then they come back. So I have found a strategy, and this is something that I personally did for myself for 21 days, is I started to make some confessions. I made my petition to God. I made some confessions, and I started denouncing, destroying, deleting, excusing, aborting, dismissing, deleting negative things that do not belong in my head. Okay? And that will cause me to want to fret and start thinking that, whatever. I have been doing that for 21 days, and I'll continue to do it, because you have to continue to keep your mind regulated. I've done this for about 21 days, and I find that it's harder for doubt to kick in now, because I have been making these confessions for so long and been doing it for maybe 2-3 times, sometimes 4 times in a day, just to kind of, keep my mind focused and not allow doubt to squeeze in. Like I said, all the enemy needs is this much of a gap to get into your mind and to reap havoc. That's all he needs. and then he's got you. He's got your mind. And a mind is a terrible thing to lose. So, yeah. With that being said, I'm going to quickly go over some things that you can do, some tools that you can use to get rid of some things that have been lingering around, and you need them to go. And it's not enough to say it once or to think it. Sometimes you have to call these things out. The Bible says that we call those things that be not as though they were. So something that you want to happen, something that you want to see to come to life, call it out like that. Speak it out loud. So you're saying it in the midst of whatever's going on. You're calling it. You're saying this is what it's going to be. It's not this right now, but this is what it's going to be. Let's start with some definitions of some of these words that we're about to use, because I'm about to give you guys some tools on how to cast down, to destroy, to bring down, to pull on these things that have been hanging on to you. Denounce. Denounce means to condemn openly, accuse publicly, or formally end a treaty. Destroy. Destroy means to put an end to existence of something by damaging or attacking it. Uproot. Uproot means to pull something, especially a tree, a plant, from the ground. Delete. Delete means to remove, especially by drawing a line through it, or marking it with a delete sign. Excuse. Excuse means to release someone from a duty or a requirement. Abort. Abort means to bring to a premature end because of a problem or fault. Dismiss. Dismiss means to order or allow to leave. You send it away, and that's that. These are some tools that I have used. And the reason why I wrote down the definitions, some of the definitions for them, is so that you guys could understand what power they have, each one of them have. So when you're actually saying it, I'll give you an example. Let's just say anxiety and depression is your issue. You denounce, you call it what it is out loud, okay? And don't say it's mine. Never own it. Never own something negative, because all you're doing is attaching it to yourself, and it's never going to go away, okay? Say what's not yours, okay? And you give it back, or you throw it back to wherever it came from. So when you use these words, okay, you not only know what some of the meanings are for them, but while you're saying it, because it has so much power, it helps you to know that when you're calling the things that you want to stop that is going on in your mind or in your life that is taking a toll on you, that behind it, it's so powerful. So it makes these confessions even better saying it out loud. I like abort. I like abort a lot, because what I find with abort, even though it says here to bring to a premature end because of a problem or fault, when you look at something that has been attacking you for years or months or days or whatever, and now you're finally going to put an end to it, like you're aborting it. You're not allowing it to go another 2 months. You're not allowing it to go another 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 9 months. You're aborting. You're saying this is enough. I'm not going to keep allowing myself to wake up being anxious, not having peace anymore, not having joy because of what's going on around me. You are going to wake up. You're going to tell yourself, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to have joy, unspeakable joy, joy that God gives me that out of no sorrow. And I'm going to go ahead and go on with my life, whatever I have to do. And I'm going to take it one day at a time. And I'm going to journal it, because I'm going to see my progression. This is when you bring life to these dead areas, this is what is so powerful enough that the enemy can't slip in. He's going to keep trying, but the more you keep bringing these things down, pulling down these negative things, these forces that keep holding you back from being who you are and from flourishing, I'm telling you. Next, what I want to do is, now that we went over tools to bring down negative thoughts, negative thinking, okay? Now we're going to, and it's a few of them, tools, confessions to make of things that you want to see happen, that you want to see take place in your life. So now you're dismissing the negative and you want to bring in the positive. So here's another confessions that you start to make. So now you're decreeing and you're declaring and you're receiving and you're believing and you're trusting, okay? Whatever it is, if you feel like you're not happy anymore, if you feel like you don't have joy, if you feel like you don't have a want to live, a desire to live, if you feel like you're depressed, if you feel like you're up and down, you don't know if you're coming or going, you speak those things that be not as though they were. If you have been told by a doctor that you have anxiety disorder or you have this disorder, you rebuke that. You say, no, this is not what I have. That's not mine. I don't own that. I'm not claiming that. You speak positive words. You speak positive things over that negative word that was spoken over you, even if you spoke it over yourself. You have to redirect that, because I'm telling you, at this time, the season that we're in, we don't have time to sit there and allow depression to take over our mind. We don't have time to sit there and allow fear to take over our mind. We don't have time to sit there and allow loneliness and unhappiness and not feeling a desire to live to take over. Because once that gets over you, you can't break that like that. It's hard to get back like that. Do you know how many people are in psych wards? Do you know how many people are taking different medications because they think this is what's going to help them? I feel bad. I'm not making fun of these people or saying, you shouldn't do that. But I'm telling you, sometimes in life, especially right now in the season that we're in, I think that it's more important that we find God in all this. I think that even though it's hard, we can't trace him, and you think he's going to fall from the ceiling or sit on your doorstep or, at the end of your bedside. I mean, unfortunately, it doesn't happen like that. But I guarantee you, there's a peace that God gives you, that he places on your heart, that that it's only God. It's only God. I encourage you to trust me on this. I know it's hard. I know that with what's going on, it's better to just, sit on the couch and just sit there and stare and, not utilize your time wisely because you don't know what to do. But try in steps. Do it a little bit at a time. Like I said in the beginning, if you are not a person that prays like that, try a few minutes. Walk away from the family or the kids or whatever and go to a quiet place and say, God, help me. I'm calling out to you. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to feel. This has never happened before. Nobody knows what's going on. People are turning to people asking when, how, and why. Nobody knows the answer. And the best thing that you could do, and it's happening to me too, like me being out there or whatever, I have to keep my head up. And I have to I can't I can't take in the negativity. And I hear it every day when I'm at work, but I have to I gotta say, no, this is a season. Ecclesiastes talks about there's a season. There's a time for pain and a time for joy, a time for sadness and a time for gladness, a time for peace and a time for sorrow. A time, this is a season that we're in that we don't know how long the season is going to be for. There's no telling. My advice to you all, whoever's going to watch this video, is to shut off your social media for a little bit, okay? Find your peace somewhere in your home, your zen, where you could just block out any negativity, any noise that's going on. Even if you have to put the kids to bed first before you do this, that's even better. I do that too. Sometimes I wait for certain, to do certain things to put, before I do them, I put my kids to bed first, because sometimes it's a distraction with your children, and it works better depending on what it is you're going to do. So I just want to encourage you to just find a peaceful place in your house, somewhere. Sometimes it could be you don't have that peaceful place. Sometimes you have to go and sit in your car because there's drama at home. Everybody has their situation, and everybody is trying to cope. And I just want to let you know that you're not the only one out there that is trying to find answers. I think that the best thing that we can all do, as a world, as a community, is help one another. Try our best to just stand strong, okay? Because this is not going to be forever. It's a season. We don't know how long the season's going to go. It's going to last for. All we know is that while we're in it, in order to go get out of it, we have to go through it. We can't say, oh, I want to fall into a coma and then wake up when it's all gone. No. Some stuff is meant for us to go through. Some stuff is meant for us to feel. Pain is meant for us to feel. Hurt is meant for us to feel. And sometimes you can't run away from everything. There are times where you can escape. But then there are times also where, no, you can't. And I think that this is a time that we're in where there is no escape for anybody. We have to go through it. We have to go through it, and it's a test of our faith. God wants to see us go through this challenge, go through this time, this hardship, and see how we come out on fire with the victory. That's it. That's what it is. And that's how I'm looking at the situation, so that I don't go crazy, because I have children that look up to me and they depend on me. And I want them also to know that, you know what, even though they don't understand, my kids are young, I want them to know that they don't need to be afraid, that God is with us. God is protecting us. And I would even encourage you too, before you leave the house, you pray God's angels encamped about you. And also pray for, especially those going to the hospitals and stuff. Pray for your coworkers. Pray for those who you're working side by side with. Lord, protect us. Protect my coworker. I pray that that whoever I'm working with, Lord God, is not infected. And these are things that, God will hear your prayer. He'll hear it. I think that we need to implement faith more and cancel out fear, because fear is not of God. It's just what it is it's false evidence appearing real, and we keep replaying what's happening. It hasn't even happened to us. You get a little itchy in your throat, and then all of a sudden you think you have COVID. You sneeze a few times, you think you have COVID. You clear your throat or cough, you think you have COVID. And the enemy has you going crazy, thinking there's something wrong with you. And you have to cast that out. You have to pull down those negative thoughts. You have to make these confessions. Even if you have to walk around doing it with a piece of paper and you have to read it out loud, you got to make these confessions until you feel it on the inside of you. And until in your mind, the more you make these positive confessions, the less those negative doubt, worry, unbelief, anxiety, depression, all that starts coming down. Trust me, I'm telling you right now. A lot of people are suffering, and they're trying to really figure out what to do at this time. And I just want to encourage everyone to really take the time. And even if you don't do every single thing that I say, you don't have to do everything that I do. Like I said, you don't have to watch Christian meditations. Whatever meditation you feel is good for you, that will give you your peace, do it. But I want to encourage you all to watch this video. I hope that this encourages you. I hope that, even if you might get to the video tonight, and some of you out there might be, trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do now? I'm back again. I just got off of work. Here's another, here's another day of a disaster, and this video might help you. So I just hope and I pray that it touches many hearts, and that you see that I'm sincere, and that I just, I feel like I've just felt led to come on here and to give some encouragement. I was actually shocked that I did this video tonight because my first video was supposed to be about hair and not makeup, but just natural skin or whatever, and beauty, whatever, just beautifying yourself up as who you are. But I think that could wait. I think this is more important right now, is us sticking together and us encouraging each other to make it, and that it's okay if we fall. It's okay if we get a little down, but we can't stay there. We got to get back up and we have to try again. We got to dust ourselves off and say, I am more than a conqueror. I'm an overcomer. I'm highly favored by God. You got to, go into some, certain scripture verses and start quoting them over your mind, over your life. And you'll see that you'll start feeling better. Trust me. So I want to end with this. I just pray that everybody out there, they get a chance to watch this video and just to see how some of these things could work, if you allow it to, and, put aside pride and just, try it. God is, he's not a mean God. I know some of us could be confused about who God is, but just try speaking to him. Just call out to him and let him know what you're dealing with. He knows each and every one of our names. And he knows our end from our beginning. So I would just encourage you to do that. I hope you like this video. Hit the subscribe button if you would like, or a thumbs up. That would be nice. Or write a comment if you will. And I hope that this would encourage lots and lots of people out there. Take care and have a blessed night.